there's three main modes of instruction in a Zen retreat, or I should say practice in a Zen retreat. It's Zazen, Dharma talk, and Dokusan. Dokusan is the one-to-one interview. Dharma talk is a talk given by a teacher. And then Zazen is the practice of meditation, whether you're doing sitting meditation or walking or work practice, whatever it may be. Those are the three main modes. And, Zen has developed quite a, I would say, a very successful and powerful organic form that presents all of these in our session retreat format. So you kind of get, you get a richness in all three of these. All three of them are important. So I appreciate your attention, and I want to talk about some of the basics of our Zen practice here. A lot of us who are doing, in fact, all of us who are doing work practice today, we're weeding at various places around the farm, and weeding is an excellent Zen practice. There's an old story which I was looking for and I couldn't find it, so I'm just going to quote it from memory, where a monk is, I think he asks about why the monks shave their heads, and he's told that it's kind of symbolic of our attachments, our obscurations, you could say, right? So it's kind of like weeding the head to remove all that hair. But a Zen master says to him, it's the hairs on the inside of your head that you have to worry about. Right? Not the symbol of the ones on the outside. So I was looking for this story, and I Googled hairs on the inside of your head, and I thought I found it, and the headline is, "The most important hair on your head is on the inside." And I said, oh, that must be the Zen story. And then it's from Norwegian Science Tech News. The minuscule wavy hairs called cilia in the cavities of your brain help keep it healthy and function well. So sometimes the hairs on the inside of the head also have a purpose. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll come back to this. But I want to stick with weeding now, because we're actually weeding, real weeding, like Jonah and I were doing out on the back path. By the way, did you notice a difference in the path from this morning? Okay, I see some big differences. Yeah, we did a lot of pruning and weeding out there. I hope Kinhin felt a bit more smooth for you, immersive. It is a good practice, how does it feel when you're pulling that weed out, and you just got the top, right? Just the top of it cracks out, right? It's like, you feel like, okay, I cleaned it up a little bit, but I didn't really get it. You actually feel it in your body, don't you? Right? We've got some master gardeners here, and Padma and Kruden and some others, Shoshin, right? And then, you really want to get it, you want to get it all, but maybe you break it out close to the ground, but there's still more down there, right? And you feel that. You've kind of cleaned it up, but you can still feel it. And then when you really get it, like you get a grasp on it, or you got a tool and you dig down and you get down into the root, and then you pull the whole root out. Doesn't that feel great? Right? You feel it in your body. That's our practice right there, is to become so, at one with what you're doing, that you're really getting to the heart of it, cleaning it all up. Not just the cosmetics, not just the way you look or behave or the way things look, But the root source of this life that is continually manifesting inside and outside in this codependent way. So working on the weeds in the garden is also working on the weeds inside. They do go hand in hand. I like to think that Buddhism is all about being in right relation with life. I look at it that way sometimes. And that's what the practice of taking care of every moment is about, being in right relation. So when we're weeding a garden, we're putting ourselves into right relation with that garden, with that life that's present. Right? The weeds might be taking over, they might be invasive, I think maybe, I don't know the exact kind of botany of it, but it seems that sometimes weeds take more than they give. They're not maybe in balance in the ecosystem the way that other plants are. So we're putting ourselves into right relation to kind of cultivate a real healthy ecosystem, with that process. But what are the weeds on the inside? The weeds are attachments, right? The way the Buddha talked about attachments are as, craving or aversion or ignorance. That's how attachment manifests. We pull towards ourselves or seek out the things that we find more pleasurable or comfortable or give us power or control, right? And we push away the things that are uncomfortable or unpleasant or cause us to feel scared or destabilized, right? We resist and push those away. That whole habit that we have to do that, behave in that way, those habits immediately produce suffering. They immediately generate an internal world that is geared around establishing security and safety for this kind of egoic construct that we all have. So all the focus and the energy goes to that. And it doesn't go to what's happening, what's really happening in this life. These weeds are kind of obscurations, right? They get in the way of us really being intimate with life as it is, others as they are, ourselves as we are. So this activity of weeding is a very powerful way to look at our Zen practice. It's taking meticulous care of every moment with the intention of cleaning up obscurations and being in right relation. And we can actually feel that within ourselves as we turn inward in our meditation. And we can notice what's growing, okay, what's manifesting in the way of a mind state or a feeling or a drive or a preference. And we notice that, in a sense, that's kind of the fruit. That's the exterior, that's the surface part of the weed. We can kind of have an awareness of those things. Okay, and then we feel into those. To uproot a weed, you have to grasp it. You have to feel it. So that's how we feel that. We feel the feeling. We feel the aversion. We feel what's going on with those things. And we move our awareness down into the body, below the level of consciousness, feeling into the darkness of that place. What's at the root of this? Okay, I can give you words around what is at the root of it, but it's better for you to follow that down and find what's at the root of it. And then find it and feel it and hold it in awareness. And the amazingness of this practice is that that process of bringing to full awareness, that means body-mind. Awareness isn't just up here, it's whole body awareness. Can produce a kind of liberation or an uprooting of these obscurations. Oh, that's kind of what's at the heart of Zen here. Yeah. Okay, but aren't weeds also plants? Isn't it just preferential? That we don't like the weeds and we like the flowers? Yeah. Yeah, actually. That as well. In his Genjo Koan, Dogen says, flowers fall even though we love them, and weeds grow even though we dislike them. So there's another level of awareness, to bring here, which is that all dharmas, all manifestations are empty. Okay? And it's our preferences around way things, we want to be, that makes us distinguish one from the other. Okay, this is a deep dharma, and this is the awareness that we're really wanting to cultivate in strong Zen practice. Okay, this is much deeper than mindfulness practices or a lot of meditation practices. This is Zen practice is about finding the root absolute at the core of our being, right? To see the emptiness, which also means the unity, which also means the fullness of all manifestations, all beings, all dharmas, all phenomena. And see, when we see the emptiness, then we're actually drawn with a greater level of sensitivity to weeding. Because that level of experience of emptiness doesn't mean, okay, it's all good. Of course it is all good. But every moment calls us to be in right relation with all phenomena. So that means taking care of everything, taking care of every stone, of every critter, of every person, of every feeling. It's really infinite, as our bodhisattva vows are. I vow to receive all sentient beings. All sentient beings, meaning infinite number of sentient beings. I vow to dissolve all delusions, infinite delusions I vow to dissolve. Right, is weeding ever over? Gardeners? Never. Never. Leaving that trail after we had spent an hour on it, Jonan, I don't know if you felt the same, but I felt proud and that it was looking pretty good. And then I was also noticing, missed that one, missed that one, missed that one. Did you do that too? Yeah, how about the others of you who were weeding out there?
Come back tomorrow
and the next day, and the next day.
I told one plant that he was a lucky dog.
You couldn't get him up?
I tried and my hands aren't, I have arthritis in my hands, so I was like, you're so lucky you get
you
to stay
survived.
here a little longer.
Yeah.
Someone else will get you maybe.
Yeah, maybe or maybe not,
Or
right?
maybe not. Yeah.
Right? Because
I've
it is.
developed this relationship with weeding where, I take my gloves off because then I can feel.
Oh.
I mean, this time I didn't because there were these little tiny flies biting. But I take my gloves off so I can feel the bottom of the weed.
Yeah.
But if I don't get it, I just say, okay, you'll be back, I'll be back.
See you again. Yeah. That's it. And that's a great approach to the interior, things that come up. No mud, no lotus, no weed. So mud, lotus, weeds are endless. Yeah. But then, those interior weeds keep calling up too. Like Dogen says, flowers fall even though we love them, and weeds grow even though we dislike them. So we're really just entering into the process of that happening. Flowers growing and weeds growing, flowers falling and dying. Yeah. Zazen, in Zen we do a lot of meditation, Zazen, seated meditation. As you all know, some of you are here for the first or second time. And this seated meditation is a practice of meticulous caretaking of the moment. Yeah, we really are doing that same sort of caretaking of our inner mind state, you could say, our inner world, our inner garden. We're doing that type of caretaking on the inner garden when we're doing seated meditation. Yeah, really kind of getting our hands into what's manifesting, what's feeling, what's growing from our soil of our heart mind. So it's not about, peace and calm. Those are the byproducts of a meditation practice, because we just become so spacious on the inside that naturally things feel less crowded and condensed and even chaotic, generally. And that sets the stage for the exploration of what those phenomena are. Because with our normal habitual patterns of body and mind, it's kind of like, trying to read a poem in a whirlwind. It's just too chaotic. So we have to establish that stability of mind, that samadhi that develops. Yeah, being an enter here, talk, I'll mention the progression that I've talked about in a number of places about, the way meditation path evolves is from consistency to continuity to concentration to co-creation. Okay, I use this 4 C's. So you need the consistency of the practice to just come and sit regularly and commit. Gakyo mentioned this morning, that 15 minutes a day, same time, same place, ideally, and then just keep showing up. That's laying the railroad tracks down. Okay, and then that develops, or you have to develop consistency. From that you develop a consistency of mind. Okay, that's the train now, running on the tracks. Okay, both of those phases take some efforting to establish that consistency of practice, to bring the mind back over and over and over to that awareness, the continuous, until that awareness becomes continuous and you aren't so much distracted. Or when you are distracted, it might be within a broader continuity of your consciousness, or you come back more quickly to that primary continuous awareness. Okay, those take some effort. That's where meditation, the effort comes in. But the third step is where things start to get rich and feeling good and easier, is when the concentration starts to develop. From those two things, the samadhi, energy of concentration, develops. And that starts to reinforce itself, and it comes back into the loop, and it reinforces your consistency, and it reinforces your continuity of mind, and then the concentration deepens, and things start to get, flowing and easier and deeper. And that quality of that concentrated mind is quite beautiful and wonderful, because it has these qualities of relaxation of the body, but also of alertness and intensity. Intensity and relaxation. We're not used to this, actually. We're used to relaxation, we tend to go towards collapse. And intensity of alertness, we could go towards activation and hypervigilance and, foot on the accelerator. That's kind of where we go with those two movements. But this becomes a holistic body-mind experience, this concentration that has both that relaxed quality and that intense quality. Yeah. It's funny, in the session that Gakyo did earlier today, you mentioned that the holding the gaze in that half-open state, which is that in between the relaxed gaze but not too relaxed, and then having some activation but not too much activation. I think you said it's the hardest thing for people to kind of get. It causes a lot of difficulty. And I've seen that as well. People have had a hard time. And this is why, right? We're not used to this. We're used to going in one direction or the other. So to kind of walk that line, okay. So that's what our consistency and our continuity is needed in order to really walk that line and not go into one direction or the other, which is what we're prone to do. And that produces that concentration. Okay. And then from there, then we get into the deeper levels of absorption that actually put us in right relation to our world. So I call it, I was calling it absorption or even unification, but I wanted a fourth C, so I called it co-creation.
Does that mean it means you?
Does it work?
Well, I'm just saying, someone might say, well, what does that mean? And you can say, well, that means union.
Yeah, thank you. That's right. It means co-creation, it means union. It means we're all co-creating together as one. Okay. But you become a conscious participant in that process instead of an unconscious participant in that process. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. The form of zazen is what's needed in order to follow that path of practice. Okay, that's why in Zen is the form of Buddhism that uses meditation as its primary practice. And, when asked why we do so much Zen, seated meditation in Zen. You know, Dogen was asked because it's the front door to the Buddha Dharma. This is the direct way of experiencing all the teachings that the Buddha had to share, and he has so much wisdom to share about how we create our internal experience, how to work with it, levels of consciousness. I mean, incredible depth, right? And you can study it for decades, you know, and many people do, and it's so rich. But your seated meditation is the front door to experiencing what he talked about. So that's the essence of, you know, Zen.